Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about birthright citizenship and the Trump administration's ambitions, both mean-spirited and it seems unconstitutional to do away with it or at least try to cut severely into it. Okay, birthright citizenship simply means you're born here, you're a citizen. It's kind of a fundamental precept of who we are as a country. Yes, we police our borders. We don't want people coming in illegally. We don't want people coming in not for the right reasons. We don't want people coming in, as Trump asserts, is happening by the thousands, but there's no proof, and committing crimes, etc. But there's a different category, and those are people who are born here, and they certainly have no fault in this being their birthplace, and it's been a fundamental element of our kind of culture that they are accepted and part of the community more than our culture, but our Constitution. So the 14th Amendment, the big omnibus amendment passed in the wake of the Civil War that gives us due process and equal protection, begins by actually saying, I'll read it to you, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. So, this was a principle announced with an eye toward the former slaves who were, if they were born here, they belong here, but it's much broader and much more sort of the national DNA, just as the 14th Amendment applies broadly to all sorts of groups. All right, this is totally chafing to Trump and part of his general nasty, teeth-bared attack on immigrants and his essentially demagogic arguments to the country that they are behind huge economic problems and criminal problems, all of which, of course, is a lie. But it was a lie that was sort of his first article of faith in the election, and so he's following through. So what do they want to do? It's right there in the Constitution. Okay. Well, what I think you're going to see is just some nasty restrictions placed on children of people who are not here legally that could never fly or are inconsistent with being citizens. Like what, for example? Maybe an order to the State Department, you can't issue a passport. Or maybe some adjustments to tourist visas so that people who come over and have children here, the idea would be that they wouldn't be subject to full rights. Oh, and when we're talking full rights, by the way, an absolute fundamental element is the Supreme Court has long since held that children of people here legally can attend public schools, Plyler versus Doe, a constitutional landmark. So you're going to see Trump try to rail against this in certain ways. And when he does, the battle will be joined. So, in other words, that it's not as if Trump, even with his own inflated view of his near dictatorial powers, can wave a wand and say no more birthright citizenship, but he is going to have to do things that are lawless, not to mention mean-spirited. I mean, right? This is the same thing that happened in Roe v. Wade. States passed statutes that were clearly inconsistent with Roe versus Wade, but they worked their way up to the Supreme Court, which eventually endorsed and validated what they had done. That's the hope of the Trump conservative agenda on immigration and birthright citizenship, that they'll do a really nasty move, abridging the rights of children of people here illegally, to the great, of course, jubilation of his base, which shared or really bought his claims of all the terrible damages being caused by immigrants. And so he'll make this kind of move that essentially will make children of people here illegally second-class citizens. And then will come the lawsuits immediately, and things will work their way up probably to the U.S. Supreme Court. And what then will the Trump administration try to say? It's a little the rabbit's in the hat when I read you the provision, but here's the argument that they're going to try to tease out. All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. The argument, and it strikes me as tortured, is that subject to the jurisdiction thereof doesn't include children of people here illegally. For some reason, if their parents are here illegally, they are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. This seems self-evidently to me a nonsense proposition. To say they're not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, that means they could commit crimes and the United States couldn't do anything about it. They could enter into contracts or do whatever they wanted because they're just not subject to jurisdiction here. But that's crazy, right? And if they just as with any other citizen, if they do things that are illegal, or if they want to get married, or they are subject to the jurisdiction, there is the power, is another way to put it, in the United States to regulate them according to the terms of any other citizen. The laws that apply to citizens apply to them. Responsibilities. If they were not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, they could say, oh, we don't have to pay taxes. We're not subject to jurisdiction, right? So it seems to me an argument that is really out there and just almost without a leg to stand on legally, and more an expression of the kind of overall war that Trump wants to declare on illegal immigrants. Recall one of his main immigration guys said, oh, well, we'll keep families together. When we kick out the people here illegally, their children will go with them. That's the kind of sort of spirit that animates this proposal. So we have reports that they are cooking up in the Project 2025 Trump 2.0 workshop all kinds of ways to harm and sort of deny the full citizenship of children of of people who are here illegally. That's going to fly in the face, it seems to me, of the Constitution, but certainly prompt a legal landmark case that, man, oh man, you never want to place bets in big cases against the Supreme Court ruling for Trump, but this one seems a bridge too far. And in any event, fundamental, not just as a matter of, well, there's actually a statute, by the way, but also the Constitution, and also just our own sort of self-image as a country. So I think those headwinds will be too much for Trump to defeat, but we'll see. And they're definitely going at it with hammer and tongue. And there's some ugly laws, I think, ahead for the children of people here illegally, and that will lead to some really intense court battles coming our way, say, in the middle of next year. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.